Alrighty, so we are back, and today what I want to talk about is GDC, and specifically part one and how you guys are feeling about the celebration. Now, overall, I think things have sort of went, in a favorable direction for Dokkan, right? We had a really boring sort of stretch, unfortunately, from, the middle of May to the end of June into July. And in a game like this, 5 to 6 weeks is a lot of content. So when the game is boring and there's not much to do, players could have a bit of a negative connotation or feeling towards the game. Really, the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion, is just, people don't care. And that was definitely the case with that. But from what it seems, vibes are pretty high with GDC Part 1 so far. So what I wanted to do was let us play the events for a little bit. Everybody could get their summons out of the way, use the characters, see what they had to offer, and then get our thoughts. So what I did was I put out a tweet over here over on X, X, Twitter. I like to call it Twitter, but we're going to call it X. You never know how people are these days, right? So what I said was, now that we've had some time to summon and play the new events, how are we feeling about Part 1 of GDC so far? And more specifically, what I wanted to know was, what did they get right? What did they get wrong? And it will be for a video, so let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And then we just attached a picture of Vegito Blue, despite him not being part of the kit other than the active skill. But I thought this frame from the active was pretty cool, so I put that in there because, Twitter, X likes when you put a picture in there. So that's what I did. But we got a couple responses here, just enough. I'd have to look and see if there's any quotes. Doesn't look like there's too many here, but enough to at least discuss what you guys had. Maybe I put the tweet out a little too late, but who knows? So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you want to be featured in more community reaction videos like this, you want to see more, let me know in the comment section below. And follow me over on Twitter at Vilify, and we can go ahead and do more stuff like this. So let's go ahead and get started. This one's coming from Jordan. Good units. Rose should have been a 220% extreme class lead. I know that sounds overpowered on paper, but it's extreme class. Plenty of events. Yep. Skill orbs for the new units are really good. Yep. Like the clones and stuff like that. Champa is kind of a wasted release. On pace for the best celebration in history. Probably. Okay. So I think there's some good stuff in here. The problem with what Jordan is saying here with the Rosé should be a 220% extreme class lead is it only works in theory, I think, or in practice, I don't think that works. And when you open the floodgates for super and extreme class 220, is there any, we can do this if we just do extreme, right? Like when you just think about every single extreme character in the game being on a 220% lead, I don't know how healthy that is for the game. It does make for a really interesting discussion though, because when you look at this, it's like, what top 10 characters right now are extreme class? It's TN and it's Rosé. That's it, right? Like you're still good. You're still good. You're still okay. You're still like mid, right? Like you're all right. You're okay in short content, right? Your EZA is probably going to be really good. You're really good. You're pretty good, right? He's pretty good. They're pretty good. And then it gets a little bit tight, right? Like they're really good with their limited time buffs. This Rosé Goku Black, he's pretty good for a free to play character, right? Buhan is like okay at this point. So it's like a pure 220 for extreme. I just think is a little too aggressive. But I do kind of get the idea where it's like, if we just look at 2024 for extreme class units, we had one for LRs, at least we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 summonable LRs, and then a couple free to play ones like Bio Broly and Aniraza, right? So we had stuff like that going on. And it's just, it doesn't, I don't know, it's tough, right? Like 2025, we're already on a good pace, or we're not on a good pace at all, right? We have, no, we are on a good pace because we have 3 summonable extreme class LRs. So it would be on pace, and then you would have to look at TURs, and I just don't know how well that would work. Or just like 220, I think is aggressive. Like if you wanted to do this as 200, I think that could have been okay. But you have to understand how crazy a 220% lead is, right? When you put like, you know, like, so we have 9 pages of characters here, right? When you put literally every single character you're looking at under a pure 220% lead, it's not conditional, it's not limited to a category or anything like that. I just think it's a little bit out of hand, but I do like the idea, right? Like if they were to do that, it would be nice, but then the clamor would be like, okay, but where's the super class one? And I think we'd have to understand, if we filter this by super, it's like, all right, so like, just imagine that none of these characters are on a 220. I know some of them are pure 220s themselves, but like, just imagine literally every single character here being able to be ran on the same team with no thought, right? Where it's like, there's no, other than what's in their passive, like leader skill wise, like you have access to run every single character with every single character without like any major drawback from the leader skill, right? Like you can run this guy with this guy, no problem. You can run this guy with this guy, Beerus and Trunks, no problem, right? You could run Bardock and Pycon, no problem, right? You guys kind of get what I'm trying to say. So it's like, I do like the idea of not restricting team building and not, you know, making things more difficult, and especially for like newer players. Like if this was the case here, if this was sort of what it was, he would be like a must summon character. If you were just like a 220 for every single character in the game that's of like one specific thing, real easy, right? You would almost have to be like a must summon character. And if it was super class, like it wouldn't be up for debate. But I think 220 is a little bit aggressive. If you want to do 200, maybe we can talk. Or even, are we up to 170 yet? I don't think so. Just like a pure 170 for typing, or for super and extreme. I think it would be a bit aggressive to go from like, I think right now we're up to 150, then to go up to 220, I think would just be a little bit too much. But I do understand what you're saying here with that. But it's a good point, right? Like it sounds OP on paper, but it's extreme class. Like extreme class right now is not the worst it's ever been, especially with the Rose and Clone team, but that's already a 220 anyway. So yeah, I like the ideas, just I think a little too much. Plenty of events. Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a lot of clicking back and forth here because we just got, you know, we got a video to make here. But if we go to the challenge tab, right, we got the brand new special campaign, global campaign, special battle, right? A new fight for Seriously Serious. In the countdown, we had the perfect cooperation team battle. Cool little concept. We've had some fun stuff, right? We had the Rose clone event. We had the Extreme Z area for the free-to-play Goku Black Super Easy Game, right? Really good stuff there. If we just kind of go to the news, we had the new Battlefield that came out, right? Divine Wrath Immortal Will got updated. Super Easy A's. Just a lot of really good stuff in here. Nothing like too crazy right now, other than the special battle, really, in terms of difficulty. But we have had some good things, and I like, you know, more is more. So skill orbs, really good. Yeah, we kind of talked about that briefly. The Rose clones basically just have free access to level 9 defense on all of them. If that's the route that you like to go, you can go level 9 attack if you're more of an offensive guy. I prefer to go the defensive route, especially just because that's just like, I either said this on stream or on the podcast the other day, but it's like the game sort of just like, it makes you lose to the point where you're like, okay, I have to use I have to use defensive stuff, right? You're just like, if you don't use defensive options, you're just not in a good spot, right? Champa being a wasted release. Yeah, I would agree. I think that Champa really could have been a whole lot better. It could have been a whole lot better of a choice for a character, right? Like, I like Champa. The God of Destruction stuff is fun. Him and Beerus, I really like their dynamic. But the problem is, it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here with these teams, right? Like, neither leader skill covers Champa, right? For the part 1 GDC characters, like Realm of Gods, not led, right? U6, not led. So what this character to me screams is like, oh, you pulled hit. Okay, here's your reward during GDC. Like, all right, now you can go ahead and use Champa on the hit team, right? And it's going to work pretty well for you because, again, I think the Champa does have some good stuff in his kit, but it's just a really bizarre choice for a character like this. Why is this not a Future Saga character, right? Why is this not a super boss? Why is this not a fused fighter, or what's the other part of their lead? They're fused fighter. Why is this? Yeah, just why is this not Future Saga, right? Like, why are we buffing other characters, a banner unit that should have been with another character? Is it so people are incentivized to summon on every banner? Like, I'm not sure, right? It's just, it's tough. Right. So I appreciate the stuff. Jordan was able to, you know, get a decent bit out of that response. So I do appreciate it. Moving along, we got Smooth, 10 out of 10. This one comes from Subasa. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I'm not a fan of giving. I've never given a celebration a 10 out of 10 because just the natural flow of Dokkan and the way that things go. I will come back to the 10 out of 10 bit, right? But the thing with Dokkan is there's always like, not to be like in like a, oh my god, like this sucks, but there's always like something that could have been done better. There's always something that they could have, improved on, something that, was missing from a specific aspect of the celebration. That's just the nature of Dokkan right now, where there's just always going to be something that was not the best, right? So it's like you think about the 10th anniversary and you're like, oh, this was a 10 out of 10, but you could be like, okay, but like it feels like a couple of the LRs were not as good as they should have been, right? So therefore it's not perfect, right? Because not all of the characters, you know what I mean? Like it's a tough spot. It's really hard to get a 10 out of 10. I don't think that it just doesn't exist, right? Because then once you say a celebration is perfect, you can't get any better. And what they've shown me in years past is that they've found ways to get better, right? You look at, we were coming out of the 9th anniversary with like the 6-year LR EZAs and stuff like that, and Beast Gohan, Gogeta Blue, right? Some of the pinnacles of Dragon Ball Super hype for most of the audience, because I feel like a lot of the audience, most of their medium is for, or most of the stuff that they grew up on, most of the stuff they're most familiar with is stuff from Dragon Ball Super. So things like Beast Gohan, UI Goku, Full Power Broly, Gogeta Blue, Vegito Blue, right? Like these are a lot of the big hitters for them. So it makes a lot of sense. And even that's not a 10 out of 10, right? Because then you could say like content could have been better. I think the variety of content for the 9th anniversary or the 10th anniversary might be the best we've ever seen. From the 9th anniversary, you could say like the same thing, right? It's just, I don't know. I don't like giving a 10 out of 10, but I see what you're saying. I like that you're excited about it. Hype, the most hype and most fun characters ever, and the whole game is dead except 2 days. Classic Dokkan. This to me circles back to not a core problem, but it's just a mindset thing where I'm guilty of this too, where you go into a celebration, there's a gazillion events to do, and you get it all done in 2 days, and then you have nothing to do because the pacing of the celebration is like, all right, we're going to release this stuff this week, and then it's going to be this stuff next week. This game is not always just doing something every day for everybody, right? So if this is like the thing you find yourself doing, just don't do all the content right away, right? Because this is what that screams to me, this guy did here, that, did all the EZAs, did everything he needed to do, and he just had nothing else to do. But the thing is, and don't take this as content, but if you're really bored, just go do those support missions for the Dokkan events. That took me a whole day, like over a whole day to do. And that'll help you pre-farm your LRs, everything that you need. Those Dokkan Awakening medals will come in really handy in the future. So I think that is something that you could do. Saying that the whole game is dead right now, I just disagree with, because right now there is a super fun fight where you can test out different stuff. And that's like the whole point of the game, right? Using different characters, trying out different events, seeing what you can do with certain characters in certain events. I think that is a lot of the appeal to the game. So I disagree with this. I don't think the game is dead right now. You can't say this when we had what we had in June. So I disagree, but I do appreciate the feedback. All right, Lord Project. I love the free-to-play Super EZA and the clones. Massive fan of that. Yeah, I agree. I do wish the alternative arts had different names. He's just implying so you can use multiple of them at the same time. I wish we had an EZA of outside of the 2 Super EZAs that we got. Would have liked more daily things to do. I ran through the new content too quickly, and it's like, now what? Okay, so similar situation, different mindset, right? Where I think that this guy just had a little bit more of a productive way of thinking about it, or a little bit nicer way of wording it, right? Yeah, I think we're going to be getting the EZA details very soon, so I think that is up to bat. But like, at least the Super EZA characters were on quality with, or like on par with the quality of a like major EZA character, right? Like how much better would let's just take like an EZA TUR, right? Like how much better is who's like someone that's EZA this year? Like Kale and Caulifla might be a really bad example because of just how good they were. But if we were to pull up like I'm just having a brain fart here. Who was somebody that EZA'd like this would probably be a better way to do it, right? Typically the Dokkan battle database is a little bit better with that, because Dokkan info doesn't change the order. So yeah, like EZA Yamcha or EZA Ginyu, right? I would easily say that these characters are like these are TUR with 30 stone Extreme Z battles, right? And then you look at the Super EZAs for like what we saw recently with Rose Goku Black and Vegito Blue, and it's like, yeah, these characters are easily on that tier and better, right? So The only reason I think that there's a frustration level for super easy A's in terms of like what you're looking for, I think it's like super easy A's individually just don't give as many stones, and that can be a bit frustrating at times, but it's just kind of one of those things, right? So it's like, I'm happy that the characters that got buffs are good. Like, that's sort of where I'm at with it. It's like, oh yeah, these characters are really good, so it's kind of whatever to me, but I do understand what you're thinking. But yeah, the free-to-play, like the free-to-play clones just feel like content in themselves, right? Where it's like, they're just so fun to use and so different and so unique for what we're used to for major celebration and free-to-play stuff, because free-to-play in Dokkan feels like it's been pretty dead for a long time. And getting a whole team like this, especially if you pull Rose, the new one, and you sort of run them together, it's just like this. It just feels like it's so much fun to do. So this is a huge W for sure. And content pacing has always been an issue for major celebrations at Dokkan. It's just how it is, because people want to get as many stones as possible, as fast as possible. So it's tough to pace yourself out. All right, what do we got? So this one comes from Brain. Number 1, Pro. It's a good celebration with good units. Yeah, you can't argue, right? Number 2, the con. Celebration choice being Future Saga in general should have been saved till next year. I'm just not feeling hyped. Yeah, I think that just comes down to the individual, right? And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm saying it in a way it's like, if you just don't like Future Saga, then yeah, you're probably not going to like this choice. But at the end of the day, I think they did play it safe, right? A Vegito Blue, quote unquote, and a Rose Goku Black are a pretty safe pick for like a bounce back celebration, if you will, because, you know, they went through this year knowing that it's like, okay, we're going to be doing Mercenary Tau and TN heading into Golden Week, or heading into GDC, and we need something to rebound, right? And if part 1, really, I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that people just wanted Daima and they didn't get Daima. And I don't know if that's the individual case for you, but I do know that is the general sentiment, where every major celebration going forward, if it's not Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima, it's going to feel like a disappointment. Really, no matter how you split it, because people just want Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima, and that's completely okay. That's not a problem. It's just that is what people want. And it's one of those things where Future Saga with Vegito Blue is just a safe pick. And when you have a safe pick like that, there's only so many like choices that you can go with where you can be like, okay, they played it safe. And the Future Saga with Vegito Blue is one of those, right? So it's like, you know, they're playing it safe when they go like Vegito Blue, Gogeta Blue, Super Vegito, Super Gogeta, UI Goku, Beast Gohan, right? Z Broly. These are Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who they basically just did like all in a year last year. It's just, you know, these are what the major celebrations are going to be, because these are the safe picks. These are the money makers. And at the end of the day, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make money. So if you're not feeling hyped, that is unfortunate, but I think that just kind of comes down to the individual. If you are hyped for Future Saga, then you should be having a really fun time right now. So just, you know, I do appreciate that, but it's just like, it's one of those things where it just kind of comes down to the user. Like, what do you like Future Saga? No, then you probably won't be excited. Okay, next up from Albus. It's okay, can be better, but could be way worse. Rose clone team alone is big. Yeah. We talked about a lot about the clone team. I just like how unique it is for free-to-play stuff. And whenever you have like a really, really good, fully free-to-play team where you don't have to spend a cent to get them, really good stuff, a unique way to farm them, even though it can be a bit pesky. I do really think it's like one of the biggest W's of the celebration for sure. Best celebration, again, we gotta wait. We gotta see it through before we start saying that. Everything is perfect except for AGL Champa. Okay. Yeah, we talked about Champa a decent bit in this video, where it's just like, where are the where's the context for him being released, aside from like, oh, we wanted to buff Hit, but like, why do we want to buff Hit 2 months later, right? Almost 2 months, yeah, over 2 months later. It's the end of April, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I don't know if that was the direct intention to just be like buffing Hit, or they just wanted to get someone from Super. But the problem with that is he's not on Super Bosses, so what's the point? Like, there's nothing here aside from Universe 6 that indicates that this is a Dragon Ball Super themed character, right? Like, you would be like, if you saw this and didn't know about Universe 6, and I was just like, oh yeah, here's the categories, right? You would be like, oh, is this a Kai? Right? Like, you would have no idea. Be like, is this Supreme Kai? I guess Planetary Destruction too, but like, you'd just be like, what the hell is this? Is this Beerus? Right? Like, that's what you would assume. You would just assume it's Beerus. And so, like, this has nothing to do with the Future Saga. And the fact, like, I get why he's not on Super Bosses. He doesn't fit the criteria. But if you know he's not on Super Bosses, then why release him? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Because yeah, this character should not be on super bosses, right? The Champa, and like it's one of those things that's funny because like when you think about it, the only like Hit really like he should be on super bosses, but it's just one of those things where it's like Hit is not fighting like in the especially the U6 versus U7 thing. It's like, you know, he's not a big baddie that's here to just like destroy stuff, right? It's just like, yeah, you know, we got it's like with Kale and Khalifa too, right? It's just the opposition. And it's the same thing with Champa, but I guess Champa doesn't directly participate in a fight. But you think about like Hit's mindset, it's like, yeah, I'm doing this because I was paid, basically, right? Or it's like, yeah, I'm gonna, like Vado said, I get the time travel or the universe dimension cube or whatever in the U6 versus U7 tournament, right? And at this point, like when the fight with Goku came out, it was like they didn't even really care about the stakes anymore. They just wanted to throw hands, right? By the end of it, like there's that scene where, you know, Champa and Beerus like, y'all are just pawns in our game, and Goku and Hit are pissed, right? Like they give him a look and like, oh, they're like, oh my god, right? So it just kind of comes down to that, right? I wouldn't put this guy on the level of like a villain, more of just an opposition. So you know, super bosses is just a weird category, and it's like Champa really should have just been on there if they're gonna reach for it. So it's whatever to me. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. All right, from A, I love the events, super easy A's, and the free to play Rose team. Yep. No permanent VB still hurts, of course, and both LR leader skills feel lacking. LR Rose's feels better than expected, and LR Blue Goku animations are meh. Other than a few gripes with the superclass unit, I love everything else. Yeah, so mostly positive stuff here. Yeah, the clones really sort of like aid Goku Black's leader skill in a really good way, because of the fact, like he said, that it's like super bosses is like sneakily okay. Does it have a very good roster? Absolutely not, but it does have what it needs, right? A cohesive team with a lot of synergy that's really easy to put together, especially if you just have to summon for one character on it. You pull this character, you have a team. Not because you need to pull other characters on the banner, it's because you have all of these guys, right? 10 options, technically. So it just kind of comes down to that. And I do think that that works out very well, and it's like we can appreciate the synergy that does come with the overall vibes from that free-to-play clone team. So yeah, the Goku Blue animations, I definitely get you for sure. At least like if we're not going to get Vegito, the trade-off was like, all right, well, that active skill better be cool, and it's really cool. So we'll take that for sure. And you know, the events I think really have been like that Goku Black and Zamasu fight. Locking is really toxic, but it's still a really fun fight to play, and I'm happy that it does exist because we just did need a little bit of a change of pace, because traditional like build up stacking events are like, we have enough of those at this point. So yeah, I agree with basically everything you said there. Goku Blue's animations are just all right. I do like the 12 key super attack animation, but the fact that they didn't have him like back fisting Zamasu, right, where it's like he goes down to the side there. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the shot where he literally teleports him behind him and then does like a backswing and hits Zamasu, right? Like that not being in the animations kind of sucked, but it technically wasn't for when he fought Rose. They were just showing the stuff that he did to Goku Black, so that does make sense. So, you know, sucks, but it is what it is. All right. LR Carnival Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Don't really know what that has to do with part 1, but I guess you are predicting the part 2 LR. Kind of mad that I can't use the summon tickets yet. Really what that comes down to is like they just want to make sure if you're going to use those, you have all of the options available, which I do like, because if they gave us these tickets now, then what they would have to do is like space it out even more and give you more during part 2, because everybody would just use their summon tickets on part 1. People are, and myself included, right? People are very impatient. And so if they let us use them now, everybody would use them now and then be upset that they didn't have any to use for part 2. So I kind of like the fact that they make you wait. What else? They are good units. Rose Masu is a strong, good unit. Very true. The Rose clones are a great free-to-play team. Zamasu Super Easy A is good. AGL Rose and Physical Vegito Blue are a good Super Easy A as well. Yeah, no disagreements there. Besides that, it seems very underwhelming for something hyped up to be one of the big celebrations of the year. I disagree with that. I think that they've done a pretty good job for what it's supposed to be, right? It's part 1 of an anniversary level celebration. We got 2 new LRs, a banner unit, plenty of new content, Super Easy A's, which is exactly what they did during the anniversary, right? With like right away, we got the Vegito Super Easy A, right? And stuff like that. So it's very sort of in line with what they did for the 10th anniversary, just with less LRs. I think if this was just like straight up Vegito Blue, maybe you would have a different sentiment with that, but I get where you're coming from. But I don't think underwhelming really is the vibe that I'm getting from the celebration, really. I think that it's it's like, I guess if you just wanted Vegito Blue, it could feel that way, but otherwise I disagree. All right. What else we got in here? I'm happy with how the celebration is progressing, but if you skip the summons or don't get the new unit, it's a bit boring. I'm slightly unhappy with the way that they're spreading out content. They had a good formula with the 10th anniversary. Why not just copy that style throughout the year of releasing content bit by bit every few days instead of flooding it at once? I'm super happy with the medal missions because it gives me something else to do with my stamina instead of link level grinding, even though it's tedious. Yeah, so the first sentence is really what I want to focus on here. I'm happy with how the celebration is progressing, but if you skip the summons or don't get the new unit, it's a bit boring. Yeah, that's by design. You know what I mean? The whole gacha system, like the main mental aspect of gacha games is FOMO, fear of missing out, right? If you don't get the new characters, you're going to feel like you're missing out and you're not having fun. That is what they're trying to do. And so if you are somebody who is skipping for something else, then you just have to go in with the thought process of like, yeah, this is not going to be as fun, right? Because you don't have what you need. And I think that the way that it's spreading out content, I definitely can see where you're coming from. But like, it hasn't been like, it's been like a week and we're about to start getting new stuff, right? Like, it's like a once a week drop. I don't really hate, but every few days, it just depends. Cause there's just like, there's not as much as the anniversary. I guess that does make sense when it comes to like events. So if we go over here, like during the 10th anniversary, right, we had the anniversary battle, which was just for this is just what it's always been, right? Not this. Yeah, so we had like 2 new red zones during the anniversary, right? And that was part of the countdown. We were able to get updated stages for that. Dokkan Chronicles, right? The festival came out later. We had some Battle Harder Formidable Foes. And what you guys have to remember specifically is the way that the 10th anniversary was done was intentionally done to be like very special and like better than anything before because they were celebrating the 10th year, right? That's why we had 6 LRs. That's why we had the Perunga Wish. It's just what it comes down to, right? It's they wanted the 10th anniversary to feel like the best thing they've ever done. So that's where I kind of like understand why the content flow is not as good as the 10th anniversary, but I still don't think it's to the point where I'm like, oh my God, like there's nothing to do, right? Like don't get this twisted, right? Grinding link levels is not content. I've always been a proponent of that. And the easy, like if you just want something to do and feel like you're grinding something productive on the game, then like this guy said it, the Dokkan Awakening medal missions is what you should be doing because it's productive. You can farm LR medals that you're going to need for Awakening characters in the future. Really good stuff. So yeah, I think that you shouldn't use like, if you don't have the new characters, it feels boring as like a metric for like how the celebration is doing, because it's just inherently they're always going to be trying to do that. So it's like that's just like a given with a Dokkan, like with a gacha celebration, right? It's like, oh yeah, they want you to summon the new characters. Like, yeah, no kidding, man. So I do appreciate the feedback. There's a lot of stuff in there. I think that there's definitely truth to. I think the pacing and spacing of content could be a little better, but again, I think that the 10th anniversary was just spoiled us a little bit. That's all. Absolute Cinema, sure, I like that. And then last but not least, this one's coming from Antonio. Is there a multi-level one? Yeah, we got 2 in here. So in my personal opinion, they nailed the content, the boss rush, special battle, free-to-play team, and the super easy A's. Boss rush, what is that? Boss rush. That's the Divine Wrath of Mortal Will, right? Yeah, so they did pace out content for a couple days, right? Because you weren't able to get those tickets right away. Special battle, free-to-play team, and the super easy A's. Yeah. The only thing they did wrong was undersell the celebration and the reveals. I was going into this GDC feeling underwhelmed, but when the data download hit, I was excited. Very common sentiment among most of the players, for sure. 2-2. 2 of 2, excuse me. The characters are phenomenal. Both feel very powerful and dominate the new fights. Also, the limited time buff characters hit. Yeah. Goku Black and Vegito Blue, they hit really hard. Int Rose is insane, and Tech VB is an amazing option. I love when they do the limited time buff, seeing characters have a breath of life post EZA. Yeah, so during major celebrations, this is a really good way to sort of get some hype back into things, let people get excited about something, and a character isn't technically going to be permanently dead when they fit into a theme. So like if we ever go back to like the Super Broly movie or something like that, or some type of fusion stuff, like STR Gogeta Blue could get limited time buffs again, right? So what really makes this cool too is the fact that like it's not always just over, right? Because Tech VB has been limited time buffed twice. So just because it's the first time that we're seeing it doesn't mean it's the last time we're seeing it with specific characters. So there we go. That is how we are feeling right now about the sort of vibes from GDC. Let me just make sure there's nothing in the quotes here. I'm really bad with like I clicked this right here, right? And anybody quoting this? Yeah, nobody quoting this. Again, if you guys are not following me on Twitter, be sure to do so over there, so that way we can make these videos. There could be a little bit more opinion spread, right? It's funny, like, you know, YouTube, I'm grateful for you guys over here. On Twitter, I don't think there's a lot of overlap between my YouTube viewers and my Twitter audience. So again, if you guys do want to follow me over there, I would appreciate it. It makes these videos longer, so that way you guys have more opinions to see, more stuff to talk about, all that fun stuff. So again, follow me on Twitter if you guys haven't already, at Vilify. It's basically at Vilify on everything unless stated otherwise. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video over here. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you were new, so that way you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you all for watching, as always, and I will see you all in the next one.